Hey everybody, it's What the Flick and our discussion of Fargo. We're going to kind of do episodes 2 and 3 to catch up. Alonzo Duralde's cable company cut power. Maybe it was the power company.
And his dog was killed.
He lost power last night, so he couldn't watch the episode. John Iadarola, Ben Mankiewicz. So the great thing, I'm looking at the New York Times recap, and it reminded me of my favorite thing in this was the totally arbitrary mention of Bactine.
Yeah.
Are you old enough? Do you even know what Bactine is?
I've heard it. Like, I know that, it's medicine adjacent, but I don't know, is it some sort of antiseptic or something like that?
I think it is. I think it is completely an antiseptic.
Okay.
And Bactine, it was like the only antiseptic around in the 70s. And for a long time, when you were a kid in the 70s, whatever happened, whatever injury befell you, your mother, no, it was a spray.
Oh,
I'm sure
really?
there's probably also an ointment, but so it was constantly the sort of, on your knee, on your elbow.
And I assume it burns.
It burns, and you're not going to get infected from slightly scraping your elbow, in the modern 20th century United States of America, because you're not going to then jump into well water, So, and it smelled like exactly how you imagine Bactine smells. Mm-hmm. So he runs into the Billy Bob Thornton is buying the Iadarola to give to Oliver Platt. And then the incredibly weird but super well organized.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Black market drug dealer with bags of urine.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
That's what I think those were. I think those were bags of clean urine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it fits in though, because you need the occasional reference to something that's sort of dated by a few decades to correctly place where Minnesota is. It's not in 2014.
I know, it really is.
In many different ways. They're still drinking bourbon milkshakes and stuff like that.
Oh, no. Yeah, I got it. I'm the winner.
I'm the winner.
I'm the winner. So that was, I love every scene. My favorite scenes in Fargo by far are scenes in restaurants.
And there are a lot of them.
I love with Molly and Keith Carradine, her dad, whenever they're in the diner. And I loved Molly when she went into Duluth, or was it in Duluth that she went into, or we don't know what city. I can't remember what city that was.
Yeah, I don't know if they identified it.
But she went into town to find out what happened to the guy who froze to death, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And then so she met up with an old friend who told that incredible story about going to Mexico and the spiders. And the spiders lay eggs in her neck, and then we're doing it. And it burst, and all these baby spiders crawled out.
Well, and also, one of the callbacks that I liked was to show Molly. I'm not going to remember just so you know anyone's names.
I got you.
So Molly, her acting is so perfect and so subtle. When she goes to retell the story, she's like, and he was sleeping. She perfectly PG.
All right, I'm going to PG it. That's.
And speaking of restaurant scenes, of course, I mean the dynamic of the show entirely shifted with the Martin Freeman and Billy Bob Thornton diner scene when Billy Bob Thornton lays out his philosophy on life, and it triggers something in Martin Freeman and sets him down this crazy path.
Did they have a scene in a restaurant?
I thought it was a diner.
But that was
because he comes in and Billy Bob Thornton's already eating.
Right, but that was post killing Sam. That was after that, but before Martin Freeman had killed anyone. That's right.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Allison Tolman is Molly, and I think she's just wonderful. I mean, there's seldom a better moment of casting. But so in episode 2, we got the Fargo killers.
Mm-hmm. The buddies.
Right, Adam Goldberg and the mute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's politically correct.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Speech impaired.
But it's good. I really like. I really like a show that makes no effort to tell us what he's saying, and they will give him fairly long sign language speeches. Mm-hmm. And they're not helping us, but then we have Adam Goldberg, who will basically
to sort of translate.
Yeah. Yeah, and right, who just sort of to translate the gist or to translate whatever he thinks will be most effective to get their way.
It's got kind of a Game of Thrones vibe when Missandei was mistranslating to take away the profanity.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I like the guys more in the third episode because their interaction with Martin Freeman was a little bit more subtle. I mean, at one point they're just standing in the woods watching him. But in the second episode, I mean, that scene went on for so long of like, I get it, he's making gestures and stuff. I wasn't a fan of it.
You're insane.
Probably.
But it does go back to, because in the second episode, we saw Goldberg and his partner drag that poor son of a bitch who had nothing to do with anything, right?
Who's kind of a prick.
A prick, but probably didn't deserve to be drowned under the ice.
So, like, conscious, thrown in a hole.
Thrown in a freezing hole.
That was rough.
And it was pointed out that like people could see them.
Well,
right?
conceivably, like they're just out basically in the open.
Right, and so there's a tremendous amount of open crime in this show. And so they drag, so now we've had 2 scenes of public dragging.
Yeah.
Which is in episodes 2 and 3, because we got Billy Bob Thornton on tape going to get that guy. And was it always his intent to kill the guy? Probably, maybe in the same way.
Well, I mean, it could be. It's hard to say because the people that we've seen him kill, he's been pretty direct with it. I mean, he kills them on the spot. Like, he stabs them in the back of the head and things like that. Like, if he's, tying him up like that, I think there's a chance that he was delivering him somewhere.
Right, could have been delivering him somewhere. Could have been trying to get the money if the problem wasn't gambling.
Yeah.
But like dragging him through, I mean, if you want to be realistic
past his
about
coworkers.
Right, just past his coworkers, like, why didn't they call 911?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I what they laid out with the Fargo brothers or buddies or whatever with the last episode is there are these people that can sort of just go through this landscape and they're immune to any sort of consequences. They're so badass that they can do what they want. And obviously Billy Bob Thornton's an even better example of that. I mean, we've seen him, he takes down Sam Hess and things like that. But what if the guy had fought back? Or when he's in the closet with Dennis from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like, Dennis could have started fighting him, and Billy Bob Thornton's not a big guy.
No, but he's a.
I guess he's just so self-assured.
He's vicious. He's a killer. He would have. That fight would have lasted 1 second. Dennis, with the bronzer, was going to win that fight.
We blind him with the bronzer.
Yeah, I don't.
But so I mean, I guess it's just supposed to show that they are so self-assured that they know nobody is going to try to stop them. Not even cops.
Right, and of course now we're seeing we got a cop with some intestinal fortitude in Molly, and Colin Hanks who's finding it, right?
After many long scenes of...
Right, being plagued. But I love talking to his boss while he's in the bathroom. Like, dude, why aren't you
bosses for police departments in this state suck.
Yeah, they're not quality.
I like his interactions with the daughter, though.
Yeah, no,
I don't know who that actress is, but she's good.
I like I like his character. I like that. I mean, because first of all, it's such a realistic moment when he let Billy Bob Thornton go. I thought, like, this ends poorly for me, right? And it's probably fine. Maybe he's just a dick, right? But now, obviously, he looks into it and he's sort of plagued by it. So, but there's an interesting thing because it's unclear where your rooting interest is. And I like that. That's really what I like best about this. There's no question you're supposed to root for Molly. There was no question you were supposed to root for the sheriff or the chief in the first place. And then bang, they take him out.
That was a hard moment for a show that had been killing people you want to see killed.
Right.
You don't expect him to die at that moment.
No, you think he's the star of the show. There's a little bit of little Ned Stark in it.
Maybe.
I mean, obviously just one episode and not a full season. But still, this is the guy you're like, oh, we're taking the ride with this guy and his engaging female coworker who he's mentoring. So she'll
Molly hasn't sort of risen at that point into someone you think could take control.
Right, and then and he's got the young kid, the wife, and the kid on the it's.
They have their conversations about paint.
But so who are you? He's so tolerant of his crazy wife because but he loves it's great. Yep. It's just good lower C crazy. That's what I've learned in therapy. Women are lower C crazy.
Okay.
So
diplomatic.
Yeah, but like who you're rooting interest in is sort of a really interesting discussion here because we have Martin Freeman, who
we oddly haven't talked about yet.
So we have Lester Nygaard, and who is the worst liar in the world, right? I mean, no criminal is more likely to get caught than Lester Nygaard. And he has killed his wife, who we didn't like.
Brutally.
But he's brutally killed her. He's covering it up. He is
covering up the death of the sheriff.
Covering up the death of the chief of police. Then we have Billy Bob Thornton, who we instinctively like. We instinctively like Martin Freeman from everything he's been in. We instinctively like Billy Bob Thornton because he's a big star and he's cool, right?
Yeah.
But he just killed a dog.
Yeah.
Which is generally
to send a message.
To send a message to a guy he's just trying to get money from. Not even a killer or anything. It's not even Oliver Platt's not a terrible guy.
Yeah.
He's gross.
Well, yeah.
No, I mean, and he's
no
not
Sam
a guy.
Hess.
He's not right. He's not Sam Hess. He's not a. He's just he's a corrupt fat cat.
So really fast. Let me ask you a question about
but
the
yet
so you bring up
still
the money.
somehow these guys, in episode 4, we are not gonna want harm to come to Billy Bob Thornton or Martin Freeman, and I find that really interesting.
Yeah, I mean they're not heroes, and they're not anti-heroes. They're not Batman. They're some other third version of a hero who you root for despite their lack of good qualities, just because you see some sort of inherent, I don't know, connection to either how you see yourself or how you'd like to see yourself. Maybe
even a little like Adam Goldberg.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. He's a straight shooter. I like that. But so with the money, I mean, in the past, Billy Bob Thornton's sort of role is actually, I mean, I don't want to say, I guess it's not that much like the assassin from No Country for Old Men, but he's an element of chaos that's introduced into people's lives, and he enjoys mixing things up. Like, he gets the kid to pee in the gas tank and then immediately turns around and calls him in. With Lester, Lester's another experiment. We see him listening to the tapes. He's had many interactions like this where he likes to throw people off of their normal course of their life. But he doesn't seem to me like a person who's remotely interested in money. No.
So
is this just a ploy?
Interesting. So maybe he doesn't care so much about the money.
I can't see him caring about money.
And he was totally amused by, one, the randomness of that money, which we still don't have an answer for yet.
The Turkish bath.
Right, but I mean, exactly. So that's exactly what you need.
Yeah,
so for the Turkish bath. And that he's blackmailing him for something he doesn't even know about. I know about the money. He's like, yeah, I don't know. She's always talking about it. He's like, so you're blackmailing somebody for something. Okay, all right, yeah.
Well, and the great line, he's like, I'm confused. He's like, it's okay, I'm not.
It's okay.
That's a good line.
I'm not. No, it's good. I liked this episode better than the second one.
Me too.
I liked the first one very much, and then I felt, I don't know, letdown's wrong, but I wasn't sure how into the series I was going to be, and this one pulled me back in. I mean,
Well, the second one had less of sort of the transformation of Lester Nygaard and less Billy Bob Thornton.
And Colin Hanks became a viable character in this show, and there's obviously a little partnership, and that's a lovely potential romance.
Bond over milkshakes.
Yeah.
Also, in this latest episode, I don't really understand what the purpose of this scene was, but I loved when Lester goes to visit his dick brother, takes the stun gun, and then has the scene with the machine gun.
Oh yeah, no,
because you want him to be happy for once.
And also, Lester, who's so meek, he's even a meek killer.
Yeah,
he was meek with the chief when the chief discovered it, and he's been meek every step of the way. So do people not know about his bullet wound? What's happening?
I mean, I think they just assume he was hurt in the attack in some way, but they don't know the nature of the wound. They certainly don't know that it was a shotgun shot.
So did
because
he pop it?
I think that he was squeezing pus or something like that.
That's what I thought.
But if they discover,
I was both incredibly turned on by that and disgusted simultaneously.
I was just disgusted.
Oh, come on.
But if they discover that, then that shows he was
a really
there.
good one sometimes.
I've never been shot with a shotgun.
Yeah,
But anyway, he does have to hide that because that shows that he was in the house when it happened. He says he was already knocked out or in the basement or whatever.
So the doctors are incompetent too, that they didn't notice a bullet wound in his hand.
As much so as the cops.
Yeah, except for Molly, who's on it but can't get authority to. Okay, so good stuff. We were into this episode, and
yeah, I'm actually more into it now after talking about it some.
Okay, good. Well, next week hopefully it'll be the three of us. So we'll look forward to that. Fargo continues. What the Flick. Thanks, everybody.